Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Another episode that we're about to record here with my boys, Joe D. Joe D, I'll let you go first.
Just what? Just to say hi?
I mean, you know, every episode you update us on the statistics and how we're doing.
Statistics are going great.
Hold on.
If you can't tell, Javi has some new clothes, so clearly the statistics are going very well. He's
Shout out to
purchased
my boy,
some
Kim
things.
Amoy.
I also saw a Mexico jersey laying around here, which was unopened.
Actually, was
that a surprise?
You reminded me.
Oh.
Actually, yes. Georgie. I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe, but you just reminded me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mexico and
Hey, Joe, talk so I can cut you off right after.
First of all, I just want to know.
You said Mexico and then I said me.
I was so confused.
First of all, I just want to know, are the statistics that you talk about, are they in relation to the channel or you being on the channel?
Oh, the channel in general.
Oh, I always thought
My thought was, as long as the channel continues to go like this, as a good business owner, which I know that you are, you would keep me on because it's like, well, why change if it's
I
working?
wasn't sure if you were
It's
updating
working.
us on the general, like with or without you, or because of you is basically what I'm saying. But
it just seems like with me,
correlation.
the business for you is exponentially.
If Joe
growing.
paid you guys to watch this video, please comment down below.
And we also have Georgie.
I love you guys. I hate you at the same time.
And,
We also have Georgie.
yeah, that's me. I'm just here. I'm just here at this point.
So that brings me up to the point after Joe was so rudely interrupted. It was Georgie's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
How long ago? How many days ago?
I'm so confused.
It was Georgie's birthday.
Last week.
Is that why the
Last
Mexico
week. Yeah,
jersey?
so that's how it all comes together. So it was shipping. Well, it was shipping, but I got it. So hold on a second. You gotta bring that. Where was it? Joe, where'd you put it?
I didn't touch it. It was sitting right here.
We got a.
Do you have a mark? Do you have a marker and can you sign it?
It's not my Mexico jersey, but
Damn.
so there
Thanks.
you go, Georgie. Happy birthday!
Appreciate
you are
it.
Officially Mexican.
I'm officially Mexican.
1980. No, what is it? 1986. What does it say on the patch?
On the patch.
The crest.
98. Is this?
98.
Wait, is this really the jersey from 98?
Yeah.
That's the design. I don't know if they actually ever used the black jersey or if that was actually ever the third jersey.
This is dope.
But
Hold up, wait.
that is the best all-time jersey of Mexico.
Didn't we just work on a sign on? We were just looking at this, weren't we? Some other team has this.
I don't know. Yeah, some
That exact thing?
Similar to it. It's the
It's a nice jersey.
I don't know.
one of the
It's my
teams-
tattoo.
wait.
It's the Aztec calendar. That's the Aztec calendar.
Isn't it like Pachuca? Don't they have this or on their jersey design? One team
no,
in Mexico
no.
has it.
No, there's nobody in Mexico that has it. There's a college team actually that has that design.
Damn, this is dope.
But anyway, that is probably the best. Everyone can agree that's probably the best all-time Mexican jersey. I don't know if that one was like I said. I don't know if the black one was ever officially used or if it was officially the third jersey. But the classic one you'll see is the green and the white. I just thought the black one was sick.
This is sick.
It is really cool.
Black jerseys, man.
So happy birthday, Georgie!
Appreciate
Officially
it. Thank you.
45 years old.
Appreciate it. Yep. 42.
We're not going to release Georgie's age because then he's going to feel insulted.
Listen, I just went to CVS because Brittany asked me to.
Did you get her some wine?
I got her some wine.
She's
The lady asked, "Can I please see your ID?" So I said, "Okay."
So
And
made
she
you feel
said,
young?
"You're 33 years old." I said, "Yes, that's correct. It's not a fake." It's like, "There's no way you're above 25."
Anyways,
I was like,
as Georgie got hit on his I got
Bragging
hit on
about it, right?
story.
I
Let's
just
actually
made
get
that
it.
up.
Listen, I feel like
It's
every
all the
single time
veggies you eat, man.
I feel like every single time we do a podcast, the intro gets longer and longer of just us talking BS.
What did you call it at my house? It wasn't a pre-cap.
The precap.
the precap.
The precap for today is Manchester
This is
City
dope.
versus Liverpool, Newcastle versus Chelsea, Brentford versus Arsenal, Everton versus Manchester United, conspiracy theories.
We
which
love those.
We might have one or two. I don't know if we have any actually in this episode. Do you have? I know, Georgie.
I
comes prepared.
didn't bring any unless
Georgie,
you did.
come-
Listen,
prepared.
it's not a conspiracy theory if it's true. Okay, so we need to change the name.
Laws of the game.
Just the truths.
Laws of the game, which are again trick questions. See if I can get you guys. I think I got you on this one. Anyway,
I suck at those. I
And then
can't.
fun facts.
Hasn't he
Fun
said that
facts.
every time? He thinks he's going to
Fun facts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, who wants to start off with Manchester City versus Liverpool? we got the first couple minutes have to be about Darwin Nunez.
Yeah,
so
Georgie
might
has
as well
to,
get us going,
has to
Georgie.
start us off.
Your thoughts?
To be honest, I mean, I put some notes down during the game because I knew we were going to record this, but I'm not going to really look into it. 1-1, realistically, was probably the fair score. I thought what I didn't like about Liverpool is it was way too easy for Man City to break us down, even though they didn't do too much with it. So the game plan was the left-hand side for Man City, Doku against Trent. That was from... I mean, I feel like everybody expected that just because Doku's quick, agile, can take on people.
And Trent's not an actual
defender. So I feel like everybody expected that. So what Liverpool tried to counter through that was obviously bringing another player or two back to help Trent. Trent was forcing him down the line while the other player was, in case he cut in, that's when they would step in. And Man City tried to do that over and over and over. It worked out at times, but it wasn't as... It didn't go as bad as I thought. Realistically, Liverpool didn't create as many chances that I would liked, and they broke us down in the first stage of the defending, which is the Salah, Darwin, Szoboszlai. They all stood in a line, and it didn't make sense to me because Bernardo Silva and Rodri somehow always were wide open. And usually when you're doing that, you're trying to cover the gaps. Liverpool never cut off those gaps. So I was watching the game and I was getting so pissed off because if you're going to put 4 or 5 players on one line and a half, you better make sure they don't play 3 with one pass. And it happened multiple times over and over and over. And City couldn't capitalize, but Liverpool didn't do too much going forward, to be honest. And I'll take 1-1. We first rated City in terms of they didn't create as many chances, but it wasn't... I don't know. I didn't. I'll take it. I'm happy with the point just because after international break and you're just kind of coming back, it wasn't the best game of football compared to what it was hyped up to be. And I feel like a lot of the commentators kind of did, like they mentioned international break, first game of the weekend. Yeah. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm surprised to hear you weren't that happy with it. I thought Liverpool played pretty well away at City. Ending, obviously, and if you look at from a clear-cut chances standpoint, I actually think you guys, I don't want to say edged them out, but there were a few that, to me, one of them I think was in the first half with Darwin, where he lost the ball under his feet, that if he was able to take a better touch, he would have had an easy look at goal. He obviously still had a lot to do, but when you compare that to the only goal City scored, it was literally, it was very similar. Haaland was able to get the ball out of his feet with one touch. I don't want to call it a half chance. It was a great chance, which I think it was Van Dijk's fault for not. I don't know why Matip and him left Haaland wide open right in between them. And you could even see Van Dijk afterwards. He was so frustrated. But I thought you guys did a good job of allowing them to keep possession, but not in crazy dangerous areas. Because it's not the normal City performance you have at home when they had that much possession, where they get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chances. They only had 1 or 2 chances.
Clear
Chances, and they would have been lucky, I would have said, to finish with 2 or more goals. That with the way that you guys normally play, the way the game played out, I actually thought there was a chance you guys could sneak out and get all 3 points, but you're also not going to go chase that game either.
Yeah.
So I thought it was that Liverpool played well. I was disappointed that Darwin couldn't
that chance
finish.
If he got it out of his feet, the header was a good chance.
Yep.
And then he had 2 other half chances on the near post where Ederson saved both, I think, where it was like impossible angle. But the one, if he would have just got it out of his feet and taken a shot, it would have been a different story. The header was really nice, and that was a good save by Ederson. But
there's one thing that actually that you mentioned the save about by Ederson I wanted to mention about Alisson. He had an amazing save on Foden. I think it was Foden, on his left-footed volley. It was going right inside the left post. He drove down to his left and got it. Yeah. And those are the saves that I don't think people talk about too much, because that goes in, all of a sudden it's a 2-0 game, and you're not coming back from it. That he consistently keeps you guys in games. Yeah. And he makes it look so easy. I think he's the best goalie in the world, and it sucks because he slipped on that goal, but even after that, like the fact that Ake could cut through three players,
Yeah,
and
I
then
was-
Holland's wide open at the top of the box. There a lot of other things had to go on, and he still got a touch on it,
Yeah.
and he almost saved that one.
That goal, man. Now that you remind me of it, now I'm like replaying it.
It was weak.
It was first the Allison mistake. He
Yep.
tries to go quick, Salah's on, fair enough. You try, you slip. The whole Liverpool team switches off. They watch the ball drop. Ake gets it, dribbles in between Szoboszlai and Trent. But I'll say dribble, but he pretty much walked in between them. They did nothing, absolutely nothing.
He passed it on.
And then Matip and Van Dijk, 20 yards of a gap in between, and then I don't know, just like you can't do that to City.
It's one mental mistake,
You cannot do that to
and
City.
boom, game over.
So the whole week leading up to it, there was a big conspiracy theory. How much does the conspiracy theory that Manchester City players? So I put this on TikTok.
Yeah,
I was gonna say there's two conspiracies:
You did-
the
I
time
did
and
question
the
it.
injury.
But
Those
anyway,
these are both.
but not
things
the
we talk
time.
about.
More so the injuries. I was
Yeah.
saying Georgie was saying that Manchester City players are not really hurt going into the international
yeah.
break because as soon as the game is, a couple days before the game, all of a sudden they're healed up and they're ready to play the game.
Yep.
So they're not faking injuries. What's the correct terminology for this conspiracy?
That's why I messaged you. I was like, I want you to change the
Because I
the
put on
title.
there that Georgie was that they were purposely
injuring themselves.
for
That's
international break.
that's not what I meant. I meant it just Pep playing mind games, or I mean it is Pep playing mind games because he's the one that said, "Oh, we have 6 injuries, 7
first of
injuries
all,
leading into it."
I want to say that I don't believe that conspiracy is true because if you have the chance to play for your national team, you don't. I want to say fake injuries, but you don't. You would rather play hurt through your international break for your national team than you would for your club team, in my opinion, because there's so many club games. Maybe it's different because it's Manchester City and it's winning the like trying to win the league, and they want to try and be healthy
Only
for the
big
Liverpool
games.
game. Only big games.
I sent you guys the article.
Do you
Having with
think-
Arsenal
So how much of all of those players coming back played an effect on that game?
in terms of
Like, do you think if all of those players would have sat out, Haaland, Rodri, and who else was it?
oh yeah, big time.
You think Liverpool wins?
Yeah,
Was Ake one of them too? Because
Ake
Ake
was
was one of
one,
them. Yeah, it's a lot, and I'd agree with Georgie. If they all sat out,
if
yes.
they all, if you all,
But
it's-
also, if they went and played for their national teams, there was a high likelihood they could have been fit anyways and still played. They just would have been.
yeah, they're just
tired.
a little tired.
Yeah.
but that's the
I think
thing.
that's part of it, right?
That's
It's
part-
like if they would have played the international break, then they wouldn't have been as good for the game
Yeah.
against Liverpool.
My only thing is this: if Rodri played in one of the games and then he sat out because of discomfort.
So did Haaland.
Haaland got hurt. Supposedly his ankle's bad, and then Pep said, "Oh, it's really bad." And then Pep says in the press conference, "It's bad," and then Haaland tweets, "I'm ready." Like, come on, like let's not. Anyway, the whole point is if Haaland sits out or Rodri sits out, which Rodri's been probably their best player this whole season.
Yep.
It's the whole mentality of a Liverpool team going at the Etihad. You're thinking like, okay, we're gonna go for a win. Where Rodri and Haaland play, and Ake drills past 2 players, passes to Haaland, 2 players that are questionable for the game. All of a sudden, are scoring the goal. But if they don't play, obviously it's a different game. Yeah,
I'd agree with you on that. Rodri, I
Fair
think,
enough.
is when they hit the rough patches when he was he injured or suspended? I think suspended, right?
Yeah,
For his red card,
suspended, the 3 games. By the way, Bernardo Silva was absolutely best player on the field.
He's so good.
He's a good player. Very good.
Did
Very, very good.
plays center midfield.
That was the only time
Amazing.
I've ever bet on games. You know, what is that thing called? Like you pick 2 or something like that? That's Panera Bread. that's many. What's
A
the thing?
parlay?
The
A parlay?
right? Where you
Oh
pick,
my God.
you pick.
There's a
you pick
buy
like
one, a
couple-
BOGO?
That was the only thing that I got right was the amount of touches. It was like Bernardo Silva over under a certain amount of touches
Yeah.
or passes in the game. It was like I don't know, what was it, like 100 or something like that? It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was a lot.
When he plays center mid,
And
guys,
he got
he's on the
and
ball.
he was like very, very much above what was the over or whatever. Anyway, last bit before we move on to the next game. What did Darwin Nunez say to Pep at the end?
I have no idea,
time.
to be honest. I really don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. Did you guys know? I have
No, I
idea.
mean, so if you watch
No
the video,
idea.
Pep goes and like not congratulate, but shakes his hand after the game, and Darwin Nunez says something like he pointed out to a scenario because he was like something, and he's like when you
Yeah.
over there. So I wonder if he said something because Pep may have said something from the sidelines to his players about Darwin or something like that.
It could have been. I honestly have no idea because I don't know, like Pep and Klopp were like hugging and talking, like laughing, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like
Even Klopp did seem to not like appreciate the fact that Darwin was
Like, well,
getting
he
after him. He's like,
pushed
whoa,
him
whoa,
away.
whoa, 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 like, yeah, come on, buddy.
Yeah.
But
He just didn't want to create any.
I have no idea, to be honest. I really don't know.
Interesting.
I really
Interesting.
don't know.
Pep probably just called him trash or something.
I wonder
I
if
don't
Pep
think he
said
would.
something.
I don't think he would do that though.
I wonder if Pep said something to his defenders, like he's not that good. Like don't.
I can
you know,
see
you
that.
Know, you know, something like that. And then
Could
Darwin
be.
Nunez took it personally.
Right.
I don't think-
All he could do is get in behind or like
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
like leave him out. Like I could see him saying
Like just
something
force him
like
to his
that.
left or whatever. He's terrible on his left. Or
But
something like that.
that'd be a stupid thing to get mad about.
Yeah, I know. But
He's young.
I don't. But do you really think Pep would have talked shit to him? Would
I
have said
don't-
something directly to Darwin, like, "Oh, you're trash" or something?
Not directly.
No.
I wonder if it's something
I think he
in
must.
a
Have,
press conference. I don't know. I have no idea.
I doubt it.
I have no
'Cause
idea.
It almost sounded, it looked like he was upset about something that happened during the game.
Yeah, that one was like
Pep doesn't
feeling
strike me
after.
as a person that would talk shit like that.
Like there's a picture of it of Darwin and Pep going at it, and then 30 seconds later, Darwin pointing at the crest like, "Come on, the Liverpool fans." So
But Pep got upset as well because Pep at first you could tell he's like asking him like, "What are you talking about?" Like
Yeah.
like he was like that. But then when Pep is talking to one of the Liverpool's assistants, you could tell he's getting fired up, and he's like, it almost seems like he's looking at him like saying like he can't come over here and talk to me like that
Yeah.
because he gets really fired up.
Interesting. I would love to know
know.
what was said. Maybe it will come out at some point.
Moving on, Newcastle versus Chelsea. All right, who wants to go first on that one?
I'll go. I guess it was another example of Newcastle being one of two teams: either a team that can destroy anybody, or a team that just kind of crumbles. But I was very disappointed to see Chelsea play that bad, and I was also very disappointed to see them make so many mental errors.
How
Reece
much
James
of
red
it do you
card-
think was luck? Because there was a couple like a couple things that happened in that game, like the red card. That
luck? I think it was. I think that Newcastle was just.
do you think
outplayed
Newcastle
them.
was okay?
I really think they just outplayed them. Yes, there was some. I don't know if luck's
there was
the
a
right
couple- there was
word
a
as
couple-
much as it is just like dumb. Like your Thiago Silva with the bad touch for Joe Ellington.
Right.
Like his brain just shut off. Reece James, I think forgot he was on a yellow card. To me, his brain just shut off. And even like the Joe Ellington missed header was a clear opportunity that they could have made it. That could have made it 5-1.
Which came off of I want to say it came off from Thiago Silva trying to nutmeg a guy in the corner. I think Anthony
And
Gordon.
turned it
There's a couple
Yeah.
situations
fell,
like
and
that.
he fell on the ground and it went off him for a corner.
Because I did think Chelsea had a couple of opportunities
Yeah.
actually to score as well that could have made the game 2-1 in Chelsea's favor.
Yeah.
Also,
And even the goal they scored was the free kick by Sterling, which was a decent free kick, but nothing crazy. That part of me was thinking, and I forgot about it until we rewatched the highlight. Is Chelsea that much worse without Caicedo?
well, they didn't drop him because he was injured.
Yeah,
They dropped him for coach's choice.
yeah.
So he was on the bench. They just preferred. Who was the other guy that was with him? That was with Enzo.
He has it starts with a U. I don't know. How
They,
to
so they
pronounce it.
preferred the other guy. So it was
One of the reasons it could be because he came 2 days after everybody else.
Ugo Chukwu. I
There
don't know
you
how
go.
to
You-
pronounce his name.
2 days later, he came back from international duty.
Oh
he
yeah,
didn't
so,
train
so
at
maybe
all.
that was like a fitness thing. Maybe you think they didn't want to overplay him.
I don't think it was. I don't know if it was a fitness thing. I think it's more he didn't train. So like because
but
like
that's
usually,
kind of everyone though.
but like all the guys they come back so Tuesday, Wednesday morning or Wednesday night.
So they get at least 1 session, 1.5 sessions.
Well, I mean,
in.
At least they're
How
there
many-
for 2-3 days. He was there. He came back Friday.
Gallagher, Palmer, Sterling. Who else? James.
Well, keep in
Yeah,
mind,
but
but
those-
those guys don't go far. Like
Yeah.
like they all stay in England. He goes
And
to South America.
Sterling didn't go anywhere, and Conor Gallagher didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
But Caicedo, obviously, he's South America. But the problem is, he came 2 days after everyone.
Why? Why did he come 2 days after? That's
I
weird.
don't know. I don't know.
Maybe because no, I don't know. That's
I mean, like you see, all the South American players from Man City and Liverpool were there. So like, why is he 2 days later? I don't know if that was a
So here's
and Enzo played.
Enzo played. Yeah. So
here's the thing I also want to highlight from that game. Because I only watched the highlights. I couldn't watch the game. I watched the highlights and I watched at the beginning when they announced starting 11. And there's a guy on there who, what was his name again? Miley?
Yeah, Miley.
Who looks like he's 12 years old
Yeah.
starting, which plays an amazing pass to get the goal.
Yep.
Newcastle had 3 teenagers on the bench and 3 goalkeepers on the bench. Not just one goalkeeper, not just two goalkeepers, three goalkeepers on the bench. So their squad was like super young, and I think the other guy was 20 years old or something crazy like that. So I'm thinking going into this game, Chelsea, like if I was watching it live, I would have thought Chelsea are absolutely going to batter Newcastle, and Newcastle come away with a 4-1 win.
Miley is what everybody thought Enzo would be like in that game. Miley played an exceptional game, and Enzo.
That pass was amazing, by the way. It looks like such a simple pass,
Yeah.
but you've seen that scenario a million times, and they will always shoot.
Yeah.
Rarely will they ever pass that ball. And Isak wasn't even expecting it because he's got to get it out from underneath his feet. Like, he takes a touch, and he kind of has to, like, readjust his body as soon as he takes a touch because it, like, comes in from underneath, and then he manages to score a goal. Great goal. But that pass doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's, again, we talked about when Chelsea did get a result or two, and we're like, are Chelsea back? It's going to be a process for Chelsea.
So I think I asked this question on one of the last podcasts, and I said, does Chelsea finish top 6? Do you remember what you said?
I said no.
I said yes. I said they make a run at the top 4, and they'll for sure finish top 6, and I still believe that.
Interesting.
I mean, looking at the table right now, they are...
Statistics, man, is not looking good, Joe.
It's for me, it's either going to be Chelsea or Man United.
Chelsea's so Chelsea's 10 points behind Tottenham, which is a decent amount. However,
Is Tottenham still in 4th?
Tottenham's now in 5th. They're 2 points. So I guess Chelsea's 12 points off the top 4. But I still think... because
What about the top 6?
They are 8 points off the top 6.
So it's not, it's
right
3
there.
games, right? But it's so inconsistent from Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But also too, if they can start turning some of these losses into draws instead, because they have lost. They've won 4, drawn 4, and lost 5. They've lost more games than they've won and or drawn.
It's going to be an up and down year.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough one.
All right. Brentford, Arsenal. Arsenal, top of the table. Joe, how does it feel? How does it feel, Joe?
Top of the league. We are top of the league. It feels great to be top. That game was very... I don't even want to call it stressful. It was just boring. I wasn't like... I always thought we would get a goal at some point. I never thought that they would score until Aaron Ramsdale tried to give them the ball multiple times. I don't like how we are going forward. I really don't, because we don't create a ton of chances. But we got the 3 points away at Brentford, which is a hard place to play. And
Brentford did a good job for the most part of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Trossard's goal was what? A toenail offside again with VAR. Took him 10 minutes to figure that one out. It's unbelievable.
And I still don't agree with that. I don't like how they draw the lines, because when they draw the lines, it's like looking at the ball when it goes out of play from a certain angle, and then you look and you see like the overhang or whatever, and
needs to be
it's completely
straight.
different.
Yeah.
The camera angle needs to be straight.
camera
on.
angle-
Because they
needs to
showed
be straight.
2 different angles. One of them he looked clearly onside, and one of them he looked clearly offside.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Because it's like the 3D image, right? You get from one angle, you get one, but then you have to look at it from like a different angle to see how much of their body is actually this far ahead. Whereas if you look at it from a different angle, it looks like their body's like back here. So it's very misleading. So when they draw the lines from that angle, I wonder if like you just move the camera this way a little bit, would that line still be in the same spot, or would that toe still be in the same spot? This is why they need to do that semi-automatic whatever.
The World Cup.
But why don't they have cameras? I don't understand it.
Well, because then you have to put a camera every, 3 yards?
I
on the
guarantee they
field?
have a lot of cameras out there, more than
Yeah, but now you're asking them to put 3, like literally station cameras every 3 yards.
Doesn't the NFL have that? Like, how do they do it? They do it.
What do you mean?
NFL,
Like for what?
NFL.
Well, they have them on. I think the NFL has them on the sticks. So like, because the hard part with soccer is the
yeah.
line you need moves.
Yeah,
In
so-
football, the line you need is set every 4 downs. That's the issue.
is true.
While we're talking about offsides, I could give you guys my idea. It just comes from another
Oh.
sport, if you want to.
Yeah,
You
go
wanna
ahead.
hear it? So
Hold on. Can we add this as a different segment? Ideas to improve the game.
Yeah, sure. Ideas to improve the game.
Ideas to improve the game. Go on.
Taking the same way that offsides is done in hockey and doing that in soccer, which is all you need is one part of your body that you can score with to be onside. So as long as some part of your body is onside, you're technically
Arsene Wenger.
onside.
So the Arsene Wenger rule.
That yes, that was what I was going to say. Then Arsene Wenger, that's exactly.
I don't
I
like
thought of this a while ago, and someone told me like, oh, I brought it up and they said the exact same thing. I thought it was a finger rule. And I think it's a great
And then
idea.
you gave him a call and you were like, hey, I got a great idea for you, Arson.
Yeah.
So
Much.
but here's my issue with that. My issue is that what changes? Because the lines are still going to be just as hard to draw as they are currently, right? Because then you're going to be looking at, is the back of his heel
On or not on?
on or not on?
So what changes? Number one, you get way more goals because a lot of these goals that are barely on are scored. You also will change how defenders play it because it's a lot different for me to say I only need to get one small piece of you offside than it is I need to create such separation
right.
that I have to, like, we'll use the Man United Arsenal game from this year when Garnacho scored and Gabriel moved up to get him offside. If the rule's different, Gabriel has to play that differently because there's no chance he's going to get him far enough offside
Right.
for it to impact the game. It
So-
will bring in different problems, to your point, that like some people will be, oh, is his fingernail onside or offside? I can't tell.
But that's what I'm saying though. That part won't change though.
I think it will change more than you
I
think.
agree with you. I agree with you in terms of now defender's gonna have to make the choice. Either I really play the offside trap and we completely do it, or I'm not gonna even take that risk and I'll just drop an extra 5 yards, keep him on side, but at least I'm guaranteeing that he's not gonna beat me with the initial ball. The problem with me again becomes when you have these situations that are gonna be close, because it's still gonna be very close.
Mm-hmm.
You're still debating the armpit. It might not be the armpit, but it's going to be the heel or the butt or whatever, the man bun, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be some part that you're still going to be trying to draw the lines and saying, is that still onside or not? There needs to be either something different or the semi-automated technology where a computer can say offsides and they don't have to draw lines. They don't have to like look at camera angles. They can just see what the chip says or whatever.
I think they should use the semi-automatic technology with the Wenger rule and do both together. Because then, to your point, like you have to draw the line somewhere. That's the hard part about something as objective as offside. You're either on or you're off. You have to draw the line somewhere. Is it half of the person's body? Is it 1% of their body?
Yeah. But the whole point before was the way that the rule was written was if it was very close, you're supposed to give the benefit to the striker. And they don't do that.
Well, that's what if you did it this way, that's kind of what you're doing. A tie goes to the striker, which is, and if any of us are touching and in the same line, it goes to the striker, which means more goals, more exciting games. But if I'm fully past you, then I'm offsides. And maybe the rule is you have to be able to see space between the two of them. Like if you can't see clearly that they're offside, then they're on.
Yeah, but then again, the camera angle, right? That becomes the camera angle issue once again. So I think they're testing it. They're testing it somewhere, I believe.
Are they?
Yeah, they're testing it somewhere. It's just whether they're going to implement it. Typically, when they test something, it goes into effect. Although they were testing that stupid orange card or whatever it was. They were testing that a couple years ago, where it's like you're sent off. Not you're sent off, but you're off for like 2 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that, and then you come back on.
I don't like that.
I don't like that stuff. Here's my problem with people like Arsene Wenger, is that they get old, they retire, and they're like, what do I do with my life now? And they literally just, like Arsene Wenger, since he's retired from coaching, has literally just tried to implement new rules. He's gone into the board or whatever organization he works for, and he's literally tried to invent new rules. And I'm like, there's some things that I think make sense. Like, let me tell you, the ball leaving the penalty, or the ball leaving the box before it had to leave the box.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't need to leave the box. Makes sense. Why do you need to have...
on a goal kick,
right? Ball going backwards on kickoffs.
Like
before it had to go forward.
Agreed.
Doesn't make sense, right? It's okay to play it backwards because all your team is behind the line. So like that kind of stuff to me makes sense in terms of simplifying the game and advancing the game. When they start doing the orange cards, when they start doing this part, I just don't understand.
You don't think this simplifies the game?
I don't, because I think
That's crazy.
the issues with the line is going to be the same. People are going to be like, was his chin onsides? You know what I mean? It's just a different part of the body that's going to be
But as an
on or off.
attacking player, if you're just trying to stay in line, because I don't think that attackers would change how they play too much if that rule changed. I do think defenders would change how they play.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If the attackers don't change how they play, they're trying to stay on sides anyways. How many people do you see go offside by a yard in the Premier League. Like it's very rare unless it's someone's not paying attention either.
But those are the ones that we look at. There's a bunch of the ones that are easy to call when half of their body's offsides. Those are the ones that we just kind of brush off because the referee typically gets it right or whatever. So I agree with you in the fact that the defenders are going to have to change the way that they play, and it will lead to more goals. So there are going to be some effects that are going to change for whether the better or worse, whether you think there should be more goals or whatever. It's just, for me, the controversy still remains in terms of when there are those tight situations. That's the only thing.
Fair.
That's the only issue. But I do agree with you that I think more goals will probably be scored, and defenders are now, they're going to have different tactics in terms of whether they play the
whole
offside
game is
trap
going
or
to
not.
change.
The whole game changes because
And I don't know
of that
if,
tiny.
and I don't know if that's, I don't want to say it's not possible, but imagine you're 33 years old, me, and you're a center back. You play center back your whole life. And this drastic, because it's pretty drastic rule to change.
You're moving the offsides by, let's say, 2 yards?
Yeah, and like
that's a pretty big
usually you're like,
change, yeah.
You stop and you raise your hand and you're like, all right, offside, even though it's like just by very, very little.
Right.
And now we're not going to see offside traps. That's going to be gone. We're not going to see Spurs chilling in half.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, we might, because the half rule anyway.
This is who we are.
Yeah, that's who we are. I guess
This is
you
who
play.
we are.
But everybody, I don't know. Is it actually going to lead to more goals if you think about it?
Yeah.
If you think about it,
At first it will.
It will.
At first it might, but then teams are just going to adapt. They're going to say, okay, we're going to park it right on top of the 18.
Or
And
they start even
formations
higher.
change.
Or they start even higher.
Yeah, but you have half.
It's true.
So then you're going to do like ping every single time like the Spurs game.
So strikers are going to have one foot on one side of the half and the other foot on the other side of the half, and then just go.
I think the whole
I
game
don't
is going
know.
to change a lot if they make that.
I do think it
A
has a bigger
lot.
change. It has a bigger change than what it seems like it's going to have, because you're like, oh, okay, so now you're just slightly. Now it does. Like, I agree. The tactics are going to be different.
There's not me also.
You have to teach center backs to drop a certain amount further, or
Or push.
really take the risk.
Or but if you can get your team well drilled enough to move up and do it well, and you could hold it and do it.
You know what I think this might
You-
bring back? Netherlands, 1974 or whatever, the high press. Have you seen?
Okay.
Have you seen those videos?
Where they would press like the whole team.
Yeah.
They did what Tottenham would do.
That's what this is going to be.
I mean,
In order to keep them off sides, everybody
Yeah.
goes an extra 15 yards just to be safe.
that's crazy. But imagine teams that park the bus. They're literally going to be parking the bus now.
Yeah, but that doesn't really change for those teams anyway, because they're
Yep.
they're never going to leave anybody off
Open
sides,
or- yeah.
because they're all just
They're
going to be
always
defending in their own
parked
box. So that's not going to really change. And plus, that far back, there's very little space. Even if you manage to play a through ball, there's going to be very little space. They're not going to be close enough to go.
I think it would force more teams who normally park the bus. They might do more pressing and play. Like, I think it would help Liverpool a lot, because the way that you guys press, and you would press higher and higher and higher and higher.
I don't know.
And I
Isn't
also
the-
think there would be more of outside backs with pace.
You don't think?
The price on them, I think, would go up a lot, even if they can't play the ball that well. Because if you can have track back speed, you would need it in as the game changes. But if they're testing it, I bet you
Yeah.
it will be a thing somewhere, and we'll see.
You don't think Liverpool play more cautiously because they don't want to get caught on counterattacks?
No.
Or Manchester City will play more cautiously?
Everything's going to change.
Because
I don't know if
so what
I
is
don't
the,
like change.
What is the blueprint?
I don't like. I mean,
what is the blueprint to beating Manchester City?
or you got to go head to head.
Head to head?
What do you mean?
Or
Like
do you
you have to go at them. Well, if you sit back, you're not going to win.
See,
on the counterattack? Some
On
teams
the-
do, right?
Oh, well, I'm talking about if you're a smaller team. If you're like a Liverpool team, you can counter.
Right.
But smaller teams, you're not. Like,
So
if
how
you just
much
park
does that
the bus-
affect Manchester City now that you have a few more yards to counter and get in behind, because you know that they're going to press so high?
Yeah.
How many more goals go against Manchester City that would maybe be called offsides?
down the left side, I'd say not many, just because Kyle Walker, I think, can outrun anyone. But down the other side, a lot.
Here's an interesting, and this wasn't just Ramsdale, but Ramsdale's performance in the first half. Poor guy. Confidence is gone.
Confidence
You put
is
this in
gone.
the group chat. You said when your confidence is gone.
It's one thing like Raya makes those mistakes, and the confidence is instilled in him, knowing that he's number one. So regardless if he makes a mistake, it's not going to be like pointed out as much as the Ramsdale one now.
And he's made a couple. He made a couple.
He has.
Not big ones, but he made a couple.
Yeah.
The difference is Raya's actually made a mistake like that, just like Ramsdale
Chelsea.
won against Chelsea. Yeah,
Cole Palmer didn't score, yeah.
Yep. So the difference is you can tell that Ramsdale's confidence is gone. Like whenever the camera zoomed in on him and there was a goal kick, he made a save. He has the ball in his hands. You can tell his face like I'm kind of like I'm in a weird moment. I don't know. You can say his head is not clear. So the problem that I have is Arteta's made it clear that Raya is number one. What I don't want Arteta to come out and do, I don't know if he made a comment or not, if he was asked about Ramsdale, was, oh, this is the reason, or because you can't put
Arteta
it,
wouldn't do that.
I don't think he would.
you
do
can't
that.
put it on one game.
Yeah, but Arteta's the kind of guy that's like the first thing he says is, "I got to protect our players. I'm sitting here in this conference protecting the guys over there." He always says he's got to protect the players. So he would never call out Ramsdale for something like that. But
I mean,
I think
agree.
Joe's right. I think Joe, for Arteta, he's thinking in his head, now I can finally silence all the critics because all the people that have been talking about the decision that I made of even just bringing Raya onto the team when Ramsdale was performing now can shut up and see that I made the right decision and Raya should be starting.
but just because of this game, because of one game.
I mean, not necessarily just because of this game, but it is one of those things that he's like, what are you guys saying now? Look at the performance.
Go
Look at the
try. So when we first signed Raya, I was not on Team Raya, and then I started watching random goalkeeper training sessions. Go watch some Arsenal goalie training sessions where both Ramsdale and Raya do the exact same move back to back and interchange as they go. Watch that for 10 minutes, and I bet you will change who you think.
But it's different. Like I don't think Arteta brought Raya to be I think he brought him to be number one regardless of what happens in training, because I think he already made up his mind way before.
He knew.
If you're signing his coach, if you're signing, it's already established. The problem I had is Ramsdale is really, really good, at saving and saving shots and up
Shot
close
stopping, yeah.
and all that. However, he preached about this. I don't know who my number one is. Blah, blah. Of course, you have to say that. But everybody knew that Raya's coming into the number one. So the confidence is already gone. Ramsdale's going into the England squad. He's getting called up.
It's like
he's up. Like he comes from Bournemouth,
In
shitty
Sheffield.
team, and then he comes up, top of the world. You play for Arsenal, challenging city, and then you're getting called up for the English national team. And then next season, all of a sudden, randomly, on different keepers getting brought in, and you're like, okay, I'll fight for my spot. But there's nothing to fight for because it's already made up.
Yeah.
And then instead of Arteta sticking to the plan of, okay, Champions League, one keeper, or Cup games, one goalkeeper, and then Premier League, one goalkeeper. It's all Raya. So you don't get any games for, 5-6 weeks now?
Yep.
And then you get put in against Brentford. The whole team is not performing really. It wasn't the best of games for anyone. And then, you make those mistakes. But, if you don't play for 5-6 weeks as a goalkeeper, and goalkeeper is one of those positions where you have to be mentally switched on at all times. So if
and
your
you have to
confidence
have
is
the
gone,
consistency of playing games.
As the games are different than training too for a goalkeeper. Yeah.
So if you play one game, that's to me, my confidence would be gone. As any goalkeeper, that's why that's why as a goalkeeper you need to be playing those games. You can't. I understand if he was at least given the confidence. Okay, you're in the cup game, you're in the Champions League. But
I think if let's say Raya would have gotten injured and they said he's out for 3 months, I think Ramsdale's performance is much better than it was.
100%.
Because if he knows mentally, okay, I'll be here for 3 months. I mean, they might bring in somebody else, but I'll be here for 3 months. I have more time to show that I am the better goalkeeper. Whereas right now they're you get one game
It's
and you're
forced.
under the spotlight with all of the criticism. People are hyping you up. Your dad's going on social media talking about how this was not handled correctly. Now you have to perform. And in a game where, I guess it doesn't make any difference. It would have just been a different situation. But in a game where Arsenal have more of the ball, you're going to get less chances to shine, right? So in those few chances, you got to make sure you're absolutely perfect. Because if you only have 6 actions in the whole game and 3 of them you've made mistakes in, then obviously that makes you look like a bad goalkeeper. So I wonder if they would have played, for example, like a City or a Liverpool, would he have had a little bit more confidence with more, a little bit more action? Yeah, with the first couple saves, things like that. He did have a better second half. So the goalkeeper coach, whoever that is, during the halftime, had a conversation with him, and he came out in the second half like smiling and stuff. I don't know how real that was or not, but he did have a much better second half. No mistakes in the second half.
Do you what does Arsenal do with Ramsdale now?
Oh, he leaves.
I think Ramsdale should leave.
He should.
Absolutely. Like Georgie said, there's nothing to. What are you fighting for? You're not fighting for anything. It's clear that your employer has found a better employee than you, whether you agree with that or not, whether the world does or not. But they've already chosen that that's the person that they want.
Yeah.
You can't have two number ones. That's one thing I've learned about coaching is that at that level, it's very difficult. It's almost impossible to have two number one goalkeepers. When you have two goalkeepers, you have to have a clear number one, and you have to have a second who is okay with being a second. Because otherwise, they leave. They're not happy because they want playing time. Yeah. And only one goalkeeper can play at the same time. Whereas any other position, even if you have two number nines, you can somehow find a way to fit them in if they're good enough.
Yeah, like Newcastle and with Isak and Wilson.
Yeah, I agree with Georgie. I like Ramsdale, and as much as he wants to fight and he wants to do the right thing, I think Arteta's made his mind up.
I think he's gone in January.
I don't want to spend too long on this topic because I don't like speaking about it, but Joe's boy, Kai Havertz gets the game winner for Arsenal.
Yeah. What do you mean, my boy?
You like him more than I do.
I think he's... Why don't you...
He scored a header. Tell me one thing other than that header that he's done in his entire career.
He scored the Champions League.
I don't like him.
He chose the Champions League final winner.
Yeah, fair enough.
Against Manchester City. That's what
I don't know.
I watching Kai. So most of my good friends are all Chelsea fans, so we watch a good amount of Chelsea games, and I distinctly remember how frustrated they would get with him because he gets into great positions. He works really hard. He's actually pretty good on the ball. He makes pretty good decisions, but he randomly pulls a Darwin and messes up very simple.
He's not a striker.
He's not a striker.
He's not a striker.
But where he plays for Arsenal, not as your main facilitator, as your second number 10 almost. I don't even know what that position is, but it's like becoming one for us. You have Odegaard, obviously, as your number 10. You have Declan Rice as like your old school number 6, where you have Jesus come back into the midfield and Havertz makes those like runs through the middle. I genuinely think he's going to grow into that position and become very, very, very good. And it appears, starting to connect. But just like Darwin, to me, if you have a young player who can get into good spots, even if they don't take the chances, at some point in their mid-20s, late 20s, or early 30s, you would think that they're going to calm themselves down and get good enough to finish those chances. I think back to a young, I know he's a striker, but a young Didier Drogba used to get a ton of chances, and he missed a lot of them, but he consistently got in those spots. So I think that he will grow into what he can become.
Do you think that?
But I think he's so much pressure on him at such a young age, and that's part of the problem. And it started when he went to Chelsea.
Do you think in an Arsenal side that is performing to contend for the title, he is the best player in that position? Or does he fit? What I'm asking is, does he fit in the starting 11 when all of Arsenal's best players are on the field?
Yeah. I depending on who we play, the only argument I would have would be to take him out and put in someone like Partey and have Partey play the 6 and have Declan Rice play where Havertz is playing now.
Against better teams, you have to do that.
So that's my question. I guess that's my question, right? Is he good enough to be a starter? Like, there's certain players in Arsenal that are starters regardless. Mm-hmm. Rice, Odegaard,
Saka,
Saliba, Gabriel, right? You
can even argue Gabriel's not even on that list. Because to start the year, we were playing when Partey was healthy.
Yeah,
Partey was starting at right back. And then Gabriel was on the bench, right?
He did.
Yeah, but if you're thinking about your best, if you told Mikel Arteta to write down his best 11 in the best formation, I think first of all, I think Gabriel is on that with Saliba next to him. But do you think Havertz is there?
Yeah,
I don't.
Oh, again, but I think you brought up a good point. It depends on who you're playing. If you're playing City, probably not, because you would rather have Partey in the midfield. If you're playing Liverpool, probably Havertz, I think, just because you get more of a work rate in up like box to box. But when you're not going to have the ball, I think you play Partey.
It depends. If this is the problem I have with Havertz going to Arsenal. To this day, I still don't know what position he was brought in to play for. Whether is he, because at Chelsea,
Right.
for a lot of the year, he plays the false nine because their strikers were injured. They didn't have a striker. They would, or whatever the reason was. And I thought he was really good as a false nine because he's not a true goal scorer. He's not going to score you 20, 30 goals. I don't think he will ever do that. I think he's going to get you 10 to 15 or 10, more of the 10-ish, and he's going to connect the dots and be a really good player all around. I like that. However, at Arsenal, you guys have Gabriel Jesus who does that. So he's never going to play over Gabriel to be the false nine, unless Gabriel and Nketiah are both hurt. Because right now it seems like Gabriel's number one striker, Nketiah is two, and then who knows after that.
Well, sometimes he'll put Trossard there.
Or that, yeah.
Recently, he's been doing that, right?
And then
Nketiah came off the bench last game, right? Or two? Yeah.
well,
game.
like even Trossard, this pass against Brentford, Trossard started
Yeah.
in Havertz's position, and then he brought Havertz on. But
I guess that is the question: is he good enough at a certain position to be in the starting 11? Because even now, you're still thinking that he's kind of not really 100% sure where he's going to fit in long term in this Arsenal side.
Where did he play for Germany? Left back.
Outside
He
back.
scored.
Right?
Yeah, as a left back. So I guess if you need a left back,
So I guess he's almost like a utility player.
Yeah.
But they need to figure out which position is best for him.
the problem I have is that exactly. Like to me, I want to know why did Arteta buy him? If you're how much did he got? 60, 70?
67 million.
So if you're buying somebody like that, you could have put that money into something where you actually need it compared to a utility player. Because
Well, where would
You
you,
guys-
say Arsenal would put?
See, I
put
thought
money?
that we need. I think because what did we sell Xhaka for? 20 million, 30 million.
24 or something like that. I don't know.
Is Havertz twice as good as Xhaka? And I would argue, yeah, he's way younger. He's just as good, if not better.
Yeah, but I would be
think they're
comparing
different.
Xhaka more to Declan Rice. I would
but
say
Xhaka,
that.
but Declan, the way that Declan Rice plays a different position, because the way that we played last season was with Partey as our 6 or Jorginho when he came, and then Xhaka always played that other of the triangle.
Yeah.
Xhaka was always the left
Yeah,
side.
you're right. Maybe Partey's the better comparison.
But Xhaka's original position is the 6. Arteta made him into a more box to box player, and which he's playing now at Leverkusen.
But just his playing style.
The problem with Havertz is, again, if I had 70 million and I was Arsenal, you guys talked about it. You want a striker that's going to score you goals.
Yeah.
So like 70 million could potentially get you. I mean,
It's hard though, isn't
It's
it?
a-
Nowadays,
it's
if
like-
you think about it, 70 million.
But then who do you go
doesn't-
get? Who do
Yeah.
you go get with 70 million?
I mean, I don't know. To me, Havertz is I don't want to say a luxury player because he's not a luxury player, but he's a player where if you're dominating a game, you put him on because he's going to be in those spaces and find those gaps. If you're playing any of the top 5 teams, you probably wouldn't start him.
Yeah.
And he would come off the bench. Even Brentford, he didn't start. But hopefully that gives me confidence to play because
70 million got us 3 points, baby.
3 points.
those are the games.
You also got to
win.
think. You also got to think, if we would have gotten a point or we would have beat, let's say Newcastle goal disallowed or whatever. I mean, you never know. That game could have gone. We could have gotten 3 points from that game. We probably would have gotten 1 point. So we would still only been. How many points are we ahead right now? One.
Would have been 2
So
points.
we would have been
clear.
2 points ahead.
Well,
but
you-
again, margins, man. Like if you think
It's
about the end of the
small
season,
margins.
if this is how it ends, and you're like,
Well, between that, the Jorginho turnover to Son, which
yeah,
like it's
Everything
yeah.
adds
But then
up.
once you start, you
They-
can do that for every team, right? Manchester City had some moments in there, and Liverpool had some moments in there. But it just makes you think of like how tight those margins are of winning the league versus not winning the league. I'm sure at some point that Newcastle game is going to play a part in what happens.
When there's 2 games left and the gap is like 2-3 points,
Yeah.
you're gonna come back to this one of those games.
Shall we talk about one of the best goals you will see in the history of the Premier League?
Garnacho, huh?
Garnacho with the
Sweet.
bike against Everton.
What a goal!
Honestly, I wonder if somebody grabs the video of Wayne Rooney against Manchester City and the Garnacho free kick. I know it wasn't the same setup, but the technique and the form and the way he hit it, I guarantee it almost matches frame for frame. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but it looked very similar. Just the form and the style of how he did it. I wonder if he
Benteke.
just like grab it and just put it on top of
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney's body and see exactly where their feet and legs were.
Christian Benteke had a very similar goal to that one.
Yeah.
But Gary Neville said, I was there for the Wayne Rooney one, and this is definitely the best one out of all the bicycle kicks.
Oh yeah, because this one was harder. It
Yeah,
was further out,
Yeah.
It was.
and
The-
Wayne Rooney's was more of a loft
You got
rather
deflected.
than a cross.
I think you
Yeah,
got deflected off
'Cause
the
they
left
cross
back.
it, gets deflected and goes up in the air. This one is like a full on cross that he just goes.
Pays
he gets
tribute-
high up too.
Yeah. Pays tribute to my boy Ronaldo, man.
Yeah, he does a
This
Ronaldo
is-
celebration.
yeah.
If there's a time to do it, I hate when people do the Ronaldo celebration. It bugs me so much.
Really?
Yeah, it bugs me so much because it's like,
He's an 18-year-old kid. He idolizes
no.
Ronaldo, or 19-year-old
like-
kid.
They're
this one was okay. I was okay with him. I was okay with him doing the Ronaldo celebration for this goal. But just like random people doing this Ronaldo celebration, I'm like, you're a professional footballer. You shouldn't be copying other people's.
Stuff.
I don't know. Like, think about it. If you watch a WWE match, have you ever seen somebody copy somebody else's? Like, there's a guy who's doing the Stone Cold Stunner as his
Really?
finishing move. Doesn't that bother you?
That's dumb.
That bothers me.
yeah.
I mean,
Come
Because
on.
it's such a signature, so it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see.
Anyway,
I don't know. I can
I'm
see
okay
it
with him
both
paying
ways.
tribute in that. If you're going to score a goal like that, you can do the Ronaldo.
However,
celebration.
Garnacho's always been a Ronaldo. Like,
Yeah.
he's a huge fan, obviously, and they were at Man United together. So
I'm just saying, people score goals that are like not great goals, and then they do the Ronaldo celebration. It's like if you're going to do the Ronaldo celebration, you have to score a goal like that.
You want to take a second, talk about United? 15 out of their last 18 points they've gotten. Like, it's,
The question that they have is the opposition that they've been playing against, right?
yeah.
And another one comes out. Varane, locker rooms.
Oh,
falling
yeah.
apart.
You sent that one.
I
It's
didn't
like Varane and Ten Hag. I don't think Varane's ever going to play for Man United again.
Oh, is there another
Yeah.
dressing room situation?
Well, Varane wasn't happy that Johnny Evans and Maguire started over him, and then they had a conversation, and it doesn't seem like it's a.
Yep.
However, Gary Neville said, speaking of conspiracy theories,
Listen, first of all, Gary Neville is not the most reliable source.
but he's a Man United
I know,
guy, so like
but-
he has inside.
What were you going to say? I'm interested now.
He think about who he's targeting. All the high earners on the team. Casemiro actually is one of them too. So all the highest paid players are all on Ten Hag's list. Ronaldo was one.
of
Got
like
him out.
people that he wants to get out.
Yeah. So the highest earners are the ones that he's
Getting rid of?
trying to get rid of. And
I
they're talking
wonder-
about like issues like financially, which I don't know. By the way, speaking of that, before I forget, by the new ownership, Ratcliffe, whatever his name is, Sir Ratcliffe, he owns Nice. So did you guys hear about that? Mm-mm. If Manchester United, so since they own two teams, if Manchester United finishes third and Nice finish second or first, Manchester United cannot go in the Champions League. They have to sit out.
Oh, because it's whoever finishes higher?
Yep, it's whoever finishes higher, and Nice are doing really well in the French league.
Wait, because they cannot.
That you
they
can't
cannot
have-
have two clubs owned by the same group in the Champions League.
I don't
Is
know
that what it is?
exactly what. It's something
There's
along
some
those
sort of
lines.
restriction because
Yeah.
there's a connection there between.
So
owners.
if Nice are like third and Manchester United finish fourth, Manchester United cannot go in the Champions
Watch.
or Europa League. Or Europa League.
watch Nice just start
They
selling.
can go in the
Oh,
conference.
because they can't be, because technically Nice could
Nice-
fall
yeah,
from.
They can
Champions
go in
League
the
to Europa.
conference. Yep.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
So watch Nice start selling all their players,
Yeah. Well,
throwing games. Start betting on Nice to lose games if that happens.
There you go,
to
yeah.
become millionaire.
Yeah. So I wonder if Ten Hag is it a because everyone talks about his management style is very authoritarian and very like it's my way or you don't do it at all. I'm gonna restore order or whatever. I wonder if he just doesn't. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize him, but I'm just saying clearly Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, right?
Yep. Sanchez.
Yeah.
On.
I wonder if is he just not good at managing
De Gea.
personalities?
The has gone.
Is he just not good at managing personalities?
When would
or
he
is-
have? When would he have ever really done it? If you think about it,
He has
Like-
Ajax.
I just wonder, like, because so there's a
but
difference
those,
between.
but that's all young. Those are young.
Yeah, yeah,
he
younger,
he gets the personalities when they're younger. He's not used. I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a skill that there's an art and science to leadership. Where like I bet you he doesn't. He's good at the science piece that I think he would struggle. To your point with the
Man management.
man management, especially if you're really tenured. Like look at Varane. I mean, Varane's a World Cup winner. How many Champions Leagues has he won? 5+.
Yeah.
That you have to talk to those people differently.
Casemiro.
So for me,
Yeah.
the question is it that he doesn't have a is it that he's not good at the man management, or that he's so set on his ways that he's okay with saying you are not part of my team. I don't care what you think. like I want you out because you just don't fit in my plans, or is it that he just doesn't know how to navigate these conversations and he just loses players that he wants to keep? He just ends up losing because he doesn't know how to manage these personalities.
It's tough because I mean, how do you? I don't want to say mess up your relationship, but you do in a way with.
Like, do you think he wants to keep these guys, or do you think he
No.
wants to get them out?
I think he wants them out.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do whatever it takes to kind of throw them to the side and like, look, you're not gonna play anymore. And he's gonna find an excuse to just like, all right, well, it is what it is. Like, you're not a part of my plans, and you're out.
So should we start talking a little bit more about Manchester United from now on? What'd you say, Joe?
If they keep picking up points,
I mean, they are.
they're 4 points off the top four now. And that's 4 points behind Liverpool, 4 points behind Villa, and they're 5 points behind City, which
They're secretly just climbing up.
like speaking of the
But-
inches though, they're a millimeter away in that game against Arsenal from grabbing 3 points there, which Arsenal now has. So
Yeah, they're flying under the radar right now. Not for as much as people were talking about how. I mean, I was about how much shambles they were.
I still think they're
They're getting the results.
No, that's fair, yeah.
that's hard to get in the Premier League. Consistent results are hard to get in the Premier League.
they're listen to this. They're sixth. Their goal differential is even. It's 0.
Yeah, the
and
amount
they
of
sit,
goals.
Score that many goals,
they
yeah.
sit above Newcastle on the table, who's plus 17.
Yeah,
It's crazy. And guess who they played? Everton, who's in the bottom 3 again.
Well, that's
because of
an
10 points.
unfair, an unfair
so
bottom
that,
three.
that
but-
rounds up our Premier League recap from this weekend. Conspiracy theories. We talked about Joe's offside rule already. All right, his.
Can we call it the Joe D rule instead of the Wenger rule soon?
Call it the Joe D rule. Nobody's going to know that Arsene Wenger hasn't thought about it yet, or
It's
has
probably
thought
true.
about it. Yeah.
You're right.
All right. Do we want to get into the laws of the game? Are you guys ready for the trick question?
No.
What do you want to go over?
How are Everton going to get deducted 10 points?
Well, that's conspiracy theory. We talked about that, didn't we?
No.
We
do you
haven't talked about the 10. We haven't
No,
talked about
we
the
haven't.
point. 10
Well,
point deduction.
we mentioned it, but it wasn't official yet. Now it's
Yeah,
official.
now
It's
it's
posted.
official.
It's
All right,
everything.
so what is the conspiracy theory behind it?
There's no. Well, the conspiracy theory is how is Everton under one charge? So this is the thing. So you have a certain amount of money that you can spend of excess amount, like a set amount that you don't have the money currently, but you're gonna pay it back, whatever.
A certain amount that you can go into debt.
Yeah, and they went 20 million over that, just 20 million. The argument on both sides, I understand. Everton pled guilty. They said yes, we're 20 million over. The problem I have with that is the Premier League and Everton have been working together for the past 2 years. The Premier League oversees their transfers, so they say yes or no if they're allowed to do it. If that's the case, which it is the case, because that's in the when it came out, when it got deducted. That's the case. How are you going to take points off a team that you're overlooking and accepting the transfers?
Because
you and I.
No, you go ahead.
Well, because I think the rule is set up, and correct me if anything I say here is wrong, but the way it's set up is that you can buy as many people as you want, but at the end of the whole year, you have to earn an X amount of it back by selling. So the Premier League can say, yeah, you're 10 million over, you're 15 million over, you're 20 million over. That if they would have gone out and sold Pickford for 30 million,
That's what they sold.
they
Digne.
would have been fine
That's what they sold Digne to Aston Villa to offset.
to offset and get him.
But then they buy in the summer whoever player they bought, and they were told, okay, you can.
Now-
And
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, middle of the season, you're
Whatever.
like,
wait a minute.
well,
I don't know if they oversee the entire financial details of it, because there's so much that probably goes into all of these transfers that at the end, when you add up all of the money and everything, they're probably not overseeing that whole thing. They're probably saying, okay, how much is it? Like to Joe's point, yes, okay, we'll approve it. You're this much below, this is how much you have to get or whatever. But then when they add up all the numbers at the end, they're like, oh crap, Everton's 20 million over.
Yep.
Now we have to deduct points. I don't think because if that was the case, then they wouldn't have to have any of the financial. They wouldn't have that many. issues with it.
None of the clubs would have their own financial people.
no,
You
no,
just
no.
have the accountants
It's only
of the Premier
Everton.
League.
Like since Everton went below, and this was like.
So you're saying that they've been keeping an eye on them,
the
supposedly.
Premier League and Everton were working hand to hand in the transfers in the past two or three windows. So if that's the case, you can't say yes in the summer and then transfer window closes, and then 3 weeks later, Everton's like, yeah, we're over, and then you say, oh, that sucks, 10 points off. Like, okay, I get both sides. The problem I have is, well, first, if you're an owner of Everton. You need to get your shit together because how do you let that happen? But as a fan base, which I hate Everton because I'm a Liverpool fan, but as a fan base, I'll be pissed off.
Yeah.
Well,
You have 115 charges at Man City.
yeah. But here's the difference, though, and this is something that you just said. Everton pled guilty.
That's the
that-
difference. Yeah.
Is that so? Okay, so if Everton pled guilty, then you can give them a sentence.
Yep.
But
Manchester City's under investigation. Doesn't mean that they're
for
going to get off
2
the
years
hook.
now, how many?
Well, because
But I mean, that
they
many
keep fighting.
charges.
Man City, I think, just keeps fighting it and fighting it and
Appeals
fighting
and
it.
stuff.
And
So
appeals and
this is
appeals.
the thing with Man City. Man City are saying we have these are the charges. We have proof that we didn't break the law. The Premier League is saying, okay, if you have proof, work with us. And they're saying, no, we're not going to work with you. Take us to court, and then we're going to do it. You can't just keep on and going for years and years and years.
Well,
to
if they have
come.
Why not? It's working for them. They keep winning titles in the between.
Well, so what? In 5 years, like when Pep leaves and all the money's gone, they're going to take away all the titles. And
Yeah,
all
they would. They will do that.
But all the teams are like the rest of the teams are going to struggle. So, Liverpool won 4 Premier Leagues now, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
yeah.
you
They're
would,
not
yeah.
going to get
Well,
into 5 years.
Well, that sucks because I can.
No, but what I'm saying is the difference is
you can
everybody's like,
celebrate it all at once. It's a great party.
again, everyone's making a big deal out of it, which I understand because when you look at before the sentencing or before the guilty or not guilty, you look at them and you're like, how do they have this many charges that these guys get one?
Yeah.
But if you plead guilty, you're accepting the fact that you're going to have
Yeah.
a punishment.
Yeah.
Well-
if you're not pleading guilty, you're extending it and extending and extending
Yeah.
it until they either say guilty or not guilty. So, in my opinion, they need to wait to see what happens with Manchester City, and then if Manchester City are found not guilty of all of that stuff, then I feel like you have more of an argument to complain and say, how out of all of these charges do they not get anything?
I also think though that part of Everton just said, you know what? Let's just take the 10 points this
But
season.
they're not taking it. They're fighting it.
They are?
Yeah. So they're going against
Then
it.
why would you plead guilt? That doesn't make any
Well, they're
sense.
pleading guilty.
they
They
have
pled
to
guilty,
plead-
but they didn't realize that the penalty was going to be as harsh as it probably
Yeah,
was.
you have to plead guilty because
It was
again they're working with,
it was a 12-point suggested penalty.
but
they thought,
they're working with the Premier League.
so they thought because we're working with you,
They
maybe
have-
they'll only give us 6 points or
Well,
whatever.
they're working with them, so that you can't hide anything at this point. You can't say no because Premier League has the proof, like they have it. If they say no, what?
People
are you gonna
were
go?
also saying that this is probably the best year for for Everton.
No,
to
it
take
is.
the 10
yeah, take
it
the
is.
10 points.
100% I agree.
They're
I agree
5
with that.
points out of the relegation.
And I think they're going to be fine. Like,
will
I
be
think,
fine, yeah.
I think they're going to stay. The problem I have is you have Chelsea as well, who are probably the Man City one, who both teams are breaking rules left and right. And we're talking about 20 million. We're not talking about
You know what needs to
500
happen?
million.
You know what needs to happen? I'll tell you right now. The USA needs to get involved. You want to know why? Conspiracy theory. I watched the documentary. FIFA. Remember the whole FIFA investigation? They finally got Sepp Blatter
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. You know who spearheaded that or who started that?
United States?
The FBI, the United States. Like it was literally the FBI or the
but
one of those. But hold on. But you
It'll
know why
happen.
they did it? You know why they did it?
Well, the
USA
World Cup,
owners?
wasn't it?
No, because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they wanted the bid for the World
Yeah.
Cup. And so they were like, all right, if you guys aren't going to give us the World Cup, like we're going to go and
And check
We're going to
and,
prove
and
how
do this whole
shady you
thing.
are.
And so they did. So like if the USA gets involved, I think, I mean, I don't think there's a motive for them to get involved, but if they got involved, I think they would probably
If-
find some stuff.
If you think of it, so United's US owned, right? Liverpool, Arsenal, Burnley,
Chelsea,
Chelsea,
who are in the
who else?
Losses.
There's a few more that there's enough of them now that are US owned. To your point, the more that happens, I could see people throwing a fit, throwing a little bit of a stinker, and
We'll see what happens.
I think the Premier League is scared of Man City.
really,
Premier League is scared of Man City. That's it. It's simple as that.
I think you have to walk and tread very carefully when you're dealing with that many charges. Clearly, the Premier League is the one that charged them with all of
Yeah.
these things. So it's not like they're scared of them. I think they're just being very careful because they know that they only have one chance at doing this and not making themselves look bad. Because let's say Manchester City does say not guilty and they come out innocent because they do have proof that they didn't. How bad does the Premier League look after saying you're under investigation for 100 and whatever charges and you're
But
right?
how is it taking 2 years?
Because how many charges is that?
Well, I will say 60 of those charges, according to Sky Sports, 60 of those charges are charges of Man City not cooperating. So, like, they're going
so it's
against
only
them.
90 charges of actual
Yeah.
financial fair play.
Yeah,
terms.
well, 150, so 50 or whatever. But 50 charges.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea, I don't even know Chelsea's. Oh, and then we're talking about Spurs as well, about possibly deducting points and all that because of Jermaine Defoe's transfer. from Portsmouth.
So there's just it's very detailed, and there's a lot that goes into it, which I'm sure is why it's taking so long.
Yeah.
But Everton again pled guilty. If Manchester City pled guilty right now, let's say they pled guilty to all those charges. Can you imagine?
Relegation. Boom.
They'd
Out
be
of the
playing.
Premier
They'd be
League.
playing.
Well, they would
they'd be playing liquid football in the summer.
They'd have to get relegated, and they would have to forfeit.
Trophies.
Yeah, multiple trophies.
Pep said, if we go to League One, I'll still be the coach.
Could you imagine?
Because they'll up his pay, and because he's going to get them back in
In 2 seasons.
half the season.
Yeah.
He'll half the season. He can take the rest of the other half off.
It's also the other part. If they did get relegated, they would just spend a ton of money, and in 2 seasons they would be back anyway. So that's the other part. Like,
Yeah. But I'll finish
is it
it with
really
this.
worth it?
I think the Premier League, what needs to happen is from League 2 to the Premier League, the rules have to be the same. Because right now, all 4 leagues are different. Speaking of Gary Neville, he talked about it. He said in League 2, because he owns the team, you have the rules are that if you spend 50 million in the summer, you have 1 year to pay that. Like if you have any loans or whatever, you have to pay that back before the next summer starts in order for you to be able to spend money for transfers or anything else. If you don't, you cannot make any transfers.
Not even free ones.
Well, free ones you can just because you're bringing in, but you cannot pay a team.
Can't buy players.
Right.
So, League One has something completely different. The Championship completely different. Premier League completely different. All of them need to be in the same rules. And 2, you need an independent party, not the Premier League, because once governments, where right now the game is going to that point where governments are involved and it's becoming a world issue rather than just an England issue.
Right.
And you have like Saudi Arabia coming in by, UAE coming in buying. You're talking about a whole world, billionaires, governments getting involved. Of course, they're going to make money. So the Premier League is not going to say no to Man City just because you're bringing in so much money and you're spending that much money and you're making the Premier League better. So that's why I say I think the Premier League is scared of Manchester City and now Newcastle and whoever else. So
Yeah. The only thing I would say to that about the leagues all have to be the same is that the reason why I think they do that, they're probably stricter at the lower levels, is because if a team is $20 million or $10 million in debt
it's
by the beginning of the season, that's like for those teams, it's like we might just fold altogether and cease to exist. So they don't want teams folding and stuff like that. So whereas the Premier League, if they're $10 or $20 million in debt, for them, that's like not a big deal.
It's 10 points.
Well, also too, I think
Same.
part of it has to do with the fact of if I can spend 50 million and you can only spend 10 at that level, the amount of disparity in players you're going to get is so huge. I mean, look at with Wrexham, how they can quickly go up so many leagues. It's because the money they have, especially in those lower leagues, it carries so much
Makes a
weight.
difference,
Yeah.
So much weight.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it's also kind of like,
Why not let them?
if you have the money, you should spend it.
Yeah.
How are you going to say, like, okay, you have $50 million and that's great, but you can't use it because it's not fair to the other teams? It's like, sorry, you got the shit owners and we got the better owners. Deal with it to a certain extent. That's why, again, the financial fair play and all of that.
I almost think that to me, it's not the transfer fees that are the biggest issue, because if you think about it, you're then just giving the money to your competitors. It's the wages. That, like, if they just set a big salary cap where you just can't, because then, like, the good players, they want to get paid too. That I think that there would be something in that opposed to just the transfer fees. But
Also, these are the teams, by the way, when we talked about it last week, that voted against.
Oh, you have a list.
You have them?
Burnley, who are about to be 2 teams.
Voted against. These are the few teams that voted against having it.
Against the ban.
Against the ban. Everton, they have Genk or somewhere. Chelsea, they have Newcastle, Man City, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, and Sheffield. All of them besides Wolves have 2 teams.
So wait a minute. Those are the ones that voted against
Passing it.
Okay,
so they didn't want it. So City was a part of that.
No, they didn't.
They didn't want the ban, so they were saying that they should be allowed to loan
they should
players
be allowed
out.
to.
These teams said that they should be allowed to loan out.
Got it. And so wait, say it again. It was Newcastle, City, Burnley. Why would Burnley and Everton want that?
Because they have 2 teams.
I guess that makes sense.
Burnley, Everton, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City, Forest, Wolves, Sheffield. The only team that doesn't have 2 teams is Wolves on that list.
Why'd they do it?
Maybe they're planning on having 2 teams.
Because the
Or maybe they
Portuguese
just-
agent, Jorge Mendes, he's thinking about buying a team.
Well, doesn't Jorge Mendes own Jorge Mendes owns a team. Doesn't he own the
He doesn't own Wolves, but he's their like main agent. So I assume that's something like maybe
Then he's going to
get.
buy another team or something.
Yeah, like he's gonna become.
It's interesting when you see the names, right? But okay, but now here's the thing: out of all the teams that voted for it, how many of them have multiple teams under their ownership groups? Because let's say 7 or 8 of them do, then your argument is almost like doesn't really make much of a difference, does it?
I mean, I don't know. Those are the
Somebody
only
do the
ones.
research because we don't fact check around here. Somebody go in the comment section and let us know because we have no idea.
Damn, all these notes.
Conspiracy theories. Listen, how do we have a new conspiracy theory every single week on
Listen,
the podcast?
this is a big one.
George,
We're
you
gonna talk
spent
about
some-
everything.
There's a lot of them. All right, last bits before we end the podcast. Laws of the game. I'm here to.
Ooh.
Or should I do the fun fact first? Because I want to.
No, do
The laws of the game.
laws
Okay, we'll
line
keep
up
it on. All
something
right,
fun, yeah.
fair enough. Okay, I don't know how to word this necessarily because I'm looking for a specific answer. So there might be multiple answers, but I'm trying to word this in a way that this becomes the only answer. So, let's say a goal is scored. Some guy takes a shot, rocket of a shot, goes into the net. No offsides, no foul, no fan interaction or interruption, no interruption whatsoever in terms of the like people getting in the way or anything like that. But the goal is called back. What would be a reason for it?
Indirect free kick.
Indirect free kick for what?
Well, if it was an indirect free kick, if I just shoot the ball and rocket it into the goal.
No, live play.
Oh.
What could possibly happen?
So-
I'll give you a hint. What could possibly happen from the moment the shot was taken to the time the ball is in the back of the net?
A
that
dog.
That would cause no
yeah, he sent a
outside
fan
interference.
Was it an active player, that like one that was supposed to be on the field in the
within
game?
the rules of like the players, offsides, all of that. It's an interesting one.
And
You
there's no
probably won't- you
there's no
prob-
foul or anything.
No foul. You probably wouldn't have. Probably won't think of it there. And there might be another answer out there, but I'm looking for a very specific one.
So
there's no foul. There's
Correct. There's no like slide tackle or anything like that.
so the guy just walking. He's
There's
inside.
nobody in an offside position obstructing the goalkeeper.
Let's
from-
say he's in the 6-yard box and he just shoots inside and just scores.
Let's say he's. I'm gonna give you another hint with that. Let's say he's outside of the 18.
the ref calls the game.
Nope.
Why does it have to be outside the 18? That's interesting.
That's why I said the ref calls the game because
Well,
there's enough travel time.
it's
where
your
like,
own.
Oh, he shot
That's-
it.
That's kind of has to do with it, the travel time. A little bit of the travel time.
He blows the whistle during.
So
Yeah,
okay, so I'll try and give you a hint. I'll try and give you a hint.
Oh,
within this.
I got. So you,
Some guy takes a rocket of a shot from outside the 18, right? Top bins.
when he
But the-
hits it and he's 30 yards out, the ref saw a foul, so he calls a foul over
But
here.
then she said there's no whistle.
Well, he did say there was a whistle, I thought.
No.
No,
So
the-
the whistle would come afterwards because of something that happened.
Oh wait. That changes it. That changes. Okay.
So like the goal would be ruled a no goal.
Oh, God. This just happened. Didn't it?
I don't think so. Unless you're talking about the Sunday League or something.
No, I swear there's something.
I should put a clock.
What game
sound.
was it? It was the. What game just happened a few weeks ago that was insane? Was it Chelsea Tottenham?
No, it didn't happen.
I feel
No,
like
this exact thing didn't happen, but something similar happened. There was a build up, and there was a penalty in the build up. The ref said play on.
You're getting colder.
I know, but I'm just giving an example. And then VAR, but
Just
VAR
trying to
came-
buy himself time.
No,
You see
VAR
how he's talking through
yeah,
this?
right. VAR came back and awarded the penalty and took the goal away, and then they ended up scoring anyways. But I don't know if I'm going to get this
This
one.
has nothing to do with.
Don't tell me.
This has nothing to really do with VAR. To be honest, I mean it could do with VAR, but not really. It's a little unfair because like the chance of this happening are also so slim that you guys would be like
the lights of the stadium.
similar to that, but not the lights. Similar.
And fans are not on the field.
There you go. Wait,
Somebody throws.
fans are on the field or not on the field?
no, fans are not on
Because
the
you
field.
said fans, then you
Yeah.
started smiling
No,
like,
no,
oh,
no,
you're
no.
getting there.
No, fans are not on the field.
The lights go off.
Do you
What
give
else?
up?
No.
What else could happen? The lights go off. That's the only way you stop.
Do you want me to give you another hint?
Music starts playing or something.
Do you want me to give you another hint?
Yeah.
This might give it away, but do you want me to give you a hint that might give it away?
1 second. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Equipment failure.
What
Oh, the refs stuff stops working?
the lights go off is the only failure. What else can
Well,
electricity?
the refs will stop the game if they're like, if
They didn't pay the electric
if
bill.
their walkie-talkie stops working.
They didn't pay the rent at the stadium. They get evicted. You give up?
Yeah, what is it?
The ball deflates on the way to the goal. If a ball deflates on the way to a goal, so like let's say I take a rocket. That's why I said if it's inside the 6, the chance of the ball deflating from inside the 6 to the goal. So if the ball gets shot and deflates mid trajectory into the goal does not count.
But how do you determine if the ball?
The goalie goes to pick the ball up and throw it, and it's deflated. Then the ref would say, "Nope, dead. We shouldn't have been playing with that."
And again, that's why I think VAR could be involved, but maybe you could see it. Like as soon as he kicks it, the ball just kind of pops, goes into the goal or whatever. So do you know that?
What do you think? How do you think that first time it happened? So they had to put that into the rule book.
So like that again, that's one of those things that like the chance of you getting it because never really gonna happen. It could happen because we've seen a ball go flat before. We've just never seen it on the way to the goal. Or let's say it could get flat. You pass it to someone, it got flat, and then they kicked it, and then it went into the goal. It wouldn't count. But like you've seen the one in the Premier League that happened like a decade or two ago, where the guy takes a shot and there's a balloon on the field.
Pepe Reina, Liverpool.
Hits the balloon and goes in, right?
Yep.
That was wild.
That is considered a goal.
Yeah.
So that's okay for whatever weird reason, which probably they must have changed the rules now.
Yeah, I think so.
Did they?
But
change
if
it
a-
after that?
I don't know, but
I remember watching
yeah.
that game live, and that balloon was there.
But if
Big
the
red
ball
balloon.
deflates on the way to the goal or in the play,
Damn it.
it does not count. I told you I was going to get you, but
You got us.
I feel like it was a little unfair because that one was super specific, and I wonder if there is another answer to that would technically fall within the rules, like I said, equipment failure. But there's no outside interference in that situation.
You're right.
That's
Interesting,
great.
huh?
That is interesting, actually.
Interesting.
'cause
Good one, Javi. That was good.
So this is what I'm going to do if I'm ever playing. I'm going to carry needles around. So when someone takes a shot that I think is going to go in, just throw the needle.
No,
at
it's
the
a
ball.
pro. It's a pro move. You have your goalie always have a needle on him, so
On
when
his
the ball
hands.
goes in the net,
There you
he
go.
picks the ball. Ref, this ball's deflated. It must have deflated when they
Puts him
shot
in
it.
if you put them in his gloves, he
Yeah.
can also slap people with it. And then next thing you
Please
You
try,
go play Javi's team. He's got Edward Scissorhands in goal. Just
please try this in your Sunday
all
week
right.
games.
So
and
that's
tell me.
I finally got you guys. I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
it.
You got us now.
All right, fair enough.
You insert your little.
I gotta put a little
Eva
sound
Live,
effects
go
in.
ahead.
Yeah. Fun fact. Did you guys bring any fun facts, or am I the only one bringing
Yeah,
fun
I think
facts?
you're
these
the
days?
only one.
All right, fair enough. Fun fact, and I wrote
If you
it.
say something super fun,
did you
it
see
might
how I
ins-
wrote it in the plan?
Yes,
I wrote it with abbreviation that you guys thought I was just messing around, and I put random letters together.
I did think that.
It stands for. Well, actually, don't look at it though. Don't look at it because it tells you the answer within it if you look at it.
Oh, there's a question to it?
So the fun fact, the fun fact.
you want
is,
us to guess the fun fact?
So this is not laws of the game, but this is a fun fact. Yeah, only 6 teams have never been relegated from the Premier
Everton.
League.
Arsenal,
Name all 6.
Arsenal, Everton. From the Premier League, United.
Wait.
Because the Premier
is
League
20
started in the 90s, I think. Yeah. Liverpool. Tottenham. And City. No? City got relegated?
City will relegate it.
Was Newcastle? Is that your 6, Newcastle? No?
No, Newcastle. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like who did I
Can I
watch
pull
in
up
the
who's in the Premier League now? The
No,
table?
because as soon as you see it, you'll know.
So yeah, Everton. Okay, it's not Bournemouth.
No.
It's not.
So right now you
Sheffield.
guys have Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Tottenham. You're missing one.
Brighton will relegate it. Bournemouth relegated. Luton relegated. Sheffield relegated. Newcastle relegated. Man City relegated. Who else?
Was West Ham
West
or
Ham.
Villa?
West Ham relegated. Ville.
It's not that hard. You're overthinking it.
Arsenal.
I mean,
So let's go through the table right now. We got Arsenal, City,
Liverpool.
Liverpool, Villa,
Spurs, Man United,
Newcastle.
Brighton. Oh, Manchester United. No.
We already said United.
Yeah.
He said
Brighton.
City was relegated. Newcastle was relegated.
Yeah, Brighton are next in your standings.
Crystal Palace. Who have we named? Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace is the only name that we haven't really named.
No.
It's gonna be one of those moments.
I can't even. I feel like we
Unbelievable.
No, stop it.
look. Sheffield relegated. Luton relegated.
You keep saying that. Yeah.
Bournemouth.
They just came up.
You're talking about the most relegated teams.
Yeah, Villa.
Wolves.
Wolves.
We mentioned?
I feel like we've said every single team now.
The people in the comment section are gonna tear you guys apart.
What? We've said every single team so far. I started from the bottom of the league.
Let me pull up the table.
You haven't said one team.
That's the only team.
You haven't said one team that makes no sense as to why you haven't said it yet.
Chelsea.
Oh yeah, Chelsea.
Oh,
they're
you guys are
shambles.
idiots.
They're literally
you
in the
guys
middle
are
of the table.
absolute idiots, both of you.
They're
right now.
literally right in the middle of the table. That's why.
And with that, that's the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you follow us on all of the social media channels. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Messi to the